Tears of the Kingdom does not have every answer that people want to hear to their questions. Sometimes it's annoying, sometimes it's weird, and sometimes it's just unsettling. Today we're going to be looking at some new introduced mysteries with Tears of the Kingdom that are kind of creepy when you really think about them. So go ahead, get some snacks, get some Gushers, some Chips Ahoy, which are better than Oreos, get a blanket, and with that said, let's get started. One of the common things that you'll be seeing if you explore the depths in Tears of the Kingdom are these ghosts that resemble a knight. These things offer weapons that are pristine, meaning they're not hurt and they do more damage than a regular weapon, so they're better to fuse with. But one question that remains: why are they there? Well, no one really knows. That's where the Unsolved part comes from. But the depths is actually full of lost souls. Of course, I'm talking about Poes, which are kinda like Hyrule's version of Purgatory. And the game says that Poes are the victims of past calamities. So it's likely that the knights here are also a victim of this. We just don't know why they're offering their weapon. And it's important to note that when you take the weapon from them, they ascend for a second and disappear. One theory on why they're holding these weapons are tied to the player's progression. They could be trying to help Link, which would explain why they respawn every single blood moon. Or the blood moon doesn't have anything to do with the lore and you actually just bring them peace whenever you take their weapon. One thing that I also find interesting about them is that they highly resemble the knights in Ocarina of Time. I don't know what this means, but it definitely does leave an eerie vibe for the depths. What I'm about to talk about is definitely the most confusing issue that Tears of the Kingdom has with its story. And obviously not all the questions that we wanted answered about the Zonai came with Tears of the Kingdom. There's still a lot that we don't know. But one of them that's extremely bizarre is the fact that in the story we find out that at the time of Hyrule's start, the Zonai were gone, and only 2 of them were remaining. Keep in mind that the Zonai had extremely advanced technology and magic, and was overall an extremely powerful civilization. So for them to just disappear out of nowhere is really weird. And there's not a lot I could find on theories on why this is. Maybe an unknown enemy killed them, maybe they couldn't take care of themselves, but if it was an enemy that killed them, I don't want to be anywhere near it. If you explore enough in the depths, you'll find 3 giant skeletons. One called the Hebra Dark Skeleton, the Gerudo Dark Skeleton, and the Elden Dark Skeleton. And since the depths are just an inverted version of Hyrule, all of these skeletons are right under Leviathan skeletons. And no one knows what they are, but the best guess that people have for them is them being dragons. And if they were dragons, it could be the reason that draconification is forbidden. It's just interesting that there's 3, meaning that 3 different people had to have swallowed a secret stone for this to happen. The real weird thing about this though is that the dragons are dead when they're supposed to be immortal. But immortal doesn't mean that you can't die in general, it just means that you can't die to natural causes. So this means that someone or something had to have killed it, and it wasn't natural causes. My best guess is that the Zonai may have killed them. If the Zonai were extremely powerful and advanced, it makes sense for them to have killed the dragons. But then also going back to what I said earlier, it also could make sense that the dragons may have killed them. Or the creepiest theory about this is that something killed them both, and that thing must have been extremely powerful. Also, one thing to point out is that the dragon skeletons are a lot bigger than the other dragons that we see in the game. Pharaoh, Dinray, Nidra, and the Light Dragon are all much smaller than what we see these skeletons to be. So if these skeletons were dragons, they were much bigger than the ones that we know. Either way, it's still really interesting to think about, and there is a lot of possibilities. This next theory is an honorable mention, but could it be true that in Tears of the Kingdom, the reason why no one recognizes Link isn't actually because Nintendo was lazy and forgot to add dialogue for that? Maybe it's because no one likes Link anymore because of what Blubber 109 has been doing to them.
You're going off script.
Oh, am I really?
Yeah, stop doing that.
That's my fault. The last thing I'd like to talk about is probably the actual creepiest thing on this list, but it's also a lot easier to understand. This was in Breath of the Wild, but it was also in Tears of the Kingdom, and I found it hard not to include it just for anyone who didn't know, so here we go. In the Lost Forest, where you originally get the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild, you will find something kind of disturbing. Now in the first game, I'm pretty sure that this was put here to scare you while you were trying to find your way around the Lost Forest, but in Tears of the Kingdom, you won't really run into them unless you try to. They're common and extremely bizarre looking trees. They all have what seems to be a smile on them and some pretty creepy eye holes. It is technically possible that something could have carved that out to make people scared, but the more likely possibility is that these are dead Deku trees. I don't know how exactly they died, but I'm going to assume it's from natural causes. But the biggest question about this is, why are they smiling? I'm guessing Nintendo gave them this face to freak people out, but in terms of actual lore, I really have no clue why they're smiling. If you have any ideas, let me know, but until then, I'm pretty clueless about this. Oh, holy hell, bro. That's not... Okay. Are you serious right now? Get some cinematography of the...